So this is session 4, July 16th, final session. So on the agenda for today, we are going to kind of wrap everything up. We're going to go over a couple of external tools and some additional kind of Canvas hacks to help you get everything started. How to get all of your documents and some of your electronic files as well as your non-electronic files onto Canvas. We're going to go over doing things like snipping images and adding things through screen recording software like Loom or Screencastify. And then we're going to go over a couple of, I'm not going to call them non-negotiables, but a couple of things that we want to make sure that everybody has in their Canvas course for the students and the parents, so that everything is nice and consistent throughout everybody's individual courses. And then we're going to kind of go over what to do from here. So what are your next steps? Because after the end of this session, you are not going to be a Canvas expert, but we want to show you where you can continue this process on your own or with some external help. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our dashboard. We're going to open up our sandbox. Okay, and so this is the page that we created yesterday. We created the banner in Canva using, hopefully, you were able to get your Canva for Educators account set up so that you can get some of those free extra resources. We added simply a table with some text that we created links to. And today we're going to talk about some of the other things that you might want to add to these tables and how you can put those in. So the first thing that we want to go over is if you have a file that you want to add, but maybe you don't have an electronic copy of it. So I don't know about you, but when I started teaching, I moved into the classroom of a teacher who had retired, and she had 3 4-drawer file cabinets full of amazing worksheets and curriculum and resources that she had gotten from professional development and off-site and on-site training, things that she had gotten from other teachers in other districts or within the district, but nothing was electronic at all. So in order to use that type of material, and I know we all have stuff like that, in Canvas, we need a way to get that paper copy into a digital copy. So I want everybody either write down these steps, or you can go ahead and take out your phone now. And I want you to download an app, if you don't already have it, called Office Lens. Okay, so I'm going to open up my app store and I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's L-E-N-S, Office Lens. Okay, and here's what it looks like in the app store. It's got a red square with a little icon on it for Microsoft. And what this allows you to do is to take a picture of any document and convert it into a PDF. Okay, so for instance, you have a sheet of paper. It's on your desk, it's in your file cabinet. You need a copy of it, electronic copy of it. You're going to go ahead and take that document. You're going to set it on a surface that has contrast. So don't set a white piece of paper on top of a white table. You're going to use a table with some type of contrast. And then I'm going to show you the Microsoft Office Lens website actually shows some really good information on how to use this so that you can kind of go a little bit further with that. So here's a little bit more about it. And at the bottom, you can see some screenshots. So here you take a picture on a desk of the document that you want. It is going to clean off all of the background. It has an algorithm that cleans up anything not within that 8.5 by 11, and it can be any size. You can do index cards, you can be business cards, whatever you want. And it cleans all of that up, it squares it. So you notice this picture that we took on the left here, that's not perfectly centered, it's not perfectly straight, you've got a little bit of triangulation or trapezoid imaging there, and it goes ahead and it cleans all that up, and it's going to give you a perfectly clean white copy that you can save to a PDF and then upload into Canvas. So if you are just sitting in front of the TV this weekend watching movies with your family, grab a stack of papers, grab your phone and just start taking pictures of everything, saving them as PDFs. And the thing I like about the Office Lens is that you can set it up once you take a picture to export directly to your OneDrive account through your school. So if I have my Office Lens app open, so here's my Office Lens app. It's going to go straight to my camera. I'm going to take a picture of the document, just straight there on my table. It's going to go ahead and clean that up and get rid of all the background. And then once I'm done with that, I can save it to any source on my phone. I can save it to as a photo, I can email it, I can text it, I can save it to my OneDrive account. So this makes it super easy to get those electronic files from just about anything. It works in textbooks as well. So if you have your teacher edition of your textbook at home and you want to take an example out of that textbook, but you don't have access to the online textbook right now, go ahead and take a picture. We own rights to that textbook. We've paid for rights to that image, and you can take that image, crop it however you want, and use it in your Canvas file as well. Remember that the Canvas is only accessible from students and observers. So it's very easily falls under the fair use policy for education because we're not profiting over it. You're not able to use it for personal use. It's only accessible by education. So feel a little bit more confident with that. You can also use this app for anything. I don't know if you've been in a PD before and everybody's like, oh, there's something up on the screen. I want to take a picture of it. And everybody tries to stand in front of the whiteboard and take a picture of their phone. Well, even if you're off center on this one, you can see that it's going to take that picture and it's going to reconcile it really nicely. So it has whiteboard options on that as well. So play around with this one. It's a really great app. You can do it from a bunch of different apps. You can use the notes feature from an iPhone. There's some individual apps that you can buy, but this one integrates with Office 365 the easiest I found. So whatever works for you. So once you do that and you save a PDF file, you can go ahead and link that PDF file. So let's say we want to do first aid procedures. I think I showed you this yesterday, but I want to just go over it one more time just for clarification. So I like everything centered. And I've misspelled procedures. All right, so you're going to highlight the words that you want to be a clickable link. You're going to come up here to the links and you're going to do a course link. Now, if your rich content editor looks different than mine, it's simply because in the feature options that we discussed on day one, I have the new rich content editor selected. You can either change yours in that feature options, or you can leave it where it is, and the course links will be an option on the right side of the screen. But that's just one of those new feature options. I like this because to me, course links and external links are the same thing, so they should be in the same location. Same thing with images, course images or upload images. So it kind of all keeps it in the same place. All right, so we are going to go to a course link, but we're going to upload it, okay? Over here, you could do a document, okay? So you can also import that as a document. So we will upload it. And let's see, here's one of the PDFs that we saved from yesterday. And then that PDF now, we're going to submit it, becomes a link. Now, remember yesterday we talked about being able to preview it. You probably don't want to use that feature on your home page, but anytime you want a preview of a PDF or a PowerPoint or a Word document, if you will click that text after you've linked it, in the new rich content editor, you would click link options and it will allow you to show the preview, automatically preview. If you're in the old rich content editor, you will click on that link button again, and then it will give you the option to add that preview. All right, so now let's talk about, we've inserted videos, we've inserted PDFs. I did show you how to do a print to PDF, and that's going to be exceptionally helpful if you have, I know a lot of our textbook companies give us PDF copies of the student workbooks or PDF copies of assessment documentation that we can use within there. And so we don't want to link a 150-page PDF document. So for something like that, you would open the document, and I've got one here that I can open up. You would open up your document and you can print just individual pages of that as PDF. So here are some ACTs. So I've got some PDF copies of some full ACT tests. So this is 64 pages. I don't want to link this, but I may want to take one page and go ahead and put it in as an activity. So let's say I just want to add this one page to one of my assignments. So I'm going to come up here and choose print. And instead of choosing an actual printer, I'm going to choose Microsoft Print to PDF. When I do that, I can just pick the page that I actually want to save. So let's say, I forgot what page that was. Let's just say page 25. I only want to link that one page. So I'm going to print that one page to PDF, and now I can put ACT page 25, and that's the only thing that's going to be in that file. Okay, so if I go and I open that up, only that single page is saved in the PDF. So this is really good if you purchase things from Teacher Pay Teacher, or if you have curriculum from another teacher where maybe it has an answer sheet attached to the end and you do not want to add that answer sheet, obviously, to your students, then you can print to PDF only the pages that you want to add. Another really cool tool that you can use, and I'm going to change my screen share settings to show you this. So let me share again. Okay, you should now be able to see the bottom of my screen. So I have this PDF copy of some test questions, and I want to add one of these questions either to a quiz or an assignment, but I don't want to add them all. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on the 4 squares. Okay, this is your Windows Start icon. And this just brings up your main settings page. And I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to type snip. And it searches for the snipping tool. You can take this snipping tool and you can pin it to the taskbar or the start menu, because I guarantee you, you're going to be using this a lot. All right. This is what I call fair use stealing. Okay, so be really careful with it. But if it's a document that you own the rights to, or it's copyright free, or it's part of a textbook or a curriculum that you have purchased, you can take your snipping tool there it is. You can create a new snip, and it's going to be a screen capture, but just part of a screen capture. So I'm going to hit new, and then I'm just going to highlight the problem that I want. And I can take this and save it as an individual image. Just that one problem. Save as, so I'm going to say problem 9 or problem 8. And it's going to save it as a PNG or a JPEG, however you want to save that. And now that picture can be put directly into Canvas. So let me open up my Canvas page again. So let's say I want to add that to any rich content editor you can use. So assignments, announcements, quizzes, anything that has this rich content editor. I'm going to click where I want it. I'm going to choose image. And since that image is saved on my computer, I'm going to upload it first. I'm going to find it there in my downloads folder. And now that image is going to be added to my page. So you can pick and choose the materials that you want to add. So imagine if you have a 20-question test and you just want to give 5 of those questions. You can pick and choose the 5 you want, copy them, and then paste them into an assignment or a document, okay? If you click this and go to image options, you've got a couple of things you can change. If you look over here, you can change the size of it if you want to make it larger or smaller. You can center it just the way you would anything else within the table. So that snipping tool is another great option. I used this snipping tool a lot when I had an online textbook and I wanted to take examples from the online textbook. So for instance, in class normally, everybody would have their textbooks out and we would go through the examples together. Well, that's not going to be a possibility. So we can take those online, either the online textbooks, or if you have a physical copy of the textbook, and you can either create the image from Office Lens, or you can pull the image off of the online version with snipping tool. And so that's going to give you a way, instead of having to recreate this digital content, using that paper pencil in-hand content that you would normally use and just quickly adding it into your Canvas page, okay? So again, we don't want you to recreate content. We want you to use content you already have, just put it into digital format. Or if you don't have that option for something, find digital content that's already been created that you can use under fair use education laws and add that to your course, okay? All right. Another thing that you might want to add to your Canvas course is an instructional video of you, because we know we hire you as teachers. We want you to still teach your children. YouTube videos and Khan Academy lessons and online videos are great, but sometimes the kids just need to see that explanation from you. Okay, so I use a software program called Loom. All right, so if you go to loom.com, it's a Google extension. And that means that you will install this onto your computer. Again, go ahead and sign up using your Google account, which is just your moreschools.com email, and it syncs everything in. You can record your screen and your camera, just like we're doing now with Zoom. You can do this just with you and your laptop, or you and your desktop and a small camera. You can even use this on an iPhone as well. And so you're just going to basically record the screen. So here is the Loom extension up at the top. I'm hoping, can you guys see that up at the top, the little flower icon? From any website, anywhere, you can click this and it's going to give you the options to start recording. Now, I'm already using my camera for Zoom, so it's not going to let me use that. Not a big deal, I'm just gonna skip that. Instead of, this would normally be the recording of my visual, it just goes to my stock photo. And these are my record options here. I can record my full desktop, or I can just record the tab that's open. Sometimes that's a little bit easier if you have a bunch of tabs open. I can just do the camera, and so I can record some of just the video and the audio and then switch over. So let me show you what this looks like in the classroom. So when I was in the classroom, I would start this in my second hour, and I would have it record the smartboard and my voice. It would not record my visuals because I didn't have a camera. All right, we are going to continue our unit on similarity. Today we are going to talk about similar polygons. And so you can see as I taught the class and went through this PowerPoint, and then we went from the PowerPoint to a website. Everything I wrote on the smartboard was recorded. And so I did my entire lesson right there. Now, here's the really cool thing about this. We're talking about offering content to students in the room and to students at home. This is what I used in the high school for students who were absent. So I would record my second hour course, Everything that went on the screen, all the questions that the students asked were on the video, any examples that we went over. And then when the student came back, I could simply give them this link on Canvas and they had access to the exact same information. So if you're in the classroom and you've got 3 students that are on distance learning, think about ways that you can record the lesson that you're teaching using the smartboard the same way you already do it, or setting up a phone and videoing you reading a book or showing manipulative work so that you're not duplicating that effort. You're simply recording what you're already doing for the students in class and then making that same material available digitally to someone who's not present, okay? There are, again, a bunch of different software programs. There's Screencastify. There's a few others I'm not really familiar with, but if you research, or you can just record it using your cell phone. Any of those that you can record a file can be added to Canvas. So there's a couple of different ways. So let's say that you record your lesson and you want to make that material available to your students. Here's that share button that we were talking about earlier when we were doing YouTube videos, just the little curvy arrow. If you click that share, you can copy a link and you can link. Loom will actually save 25 videos online for free, no charge. So it's not going to save anything into anything long-term, but you can just do a running copy of the last 25 videos. You can also embed it. So if you click this, it will give you the embed code the same way that those YouTube videos were embedded. So you would do insert, upload, record media, and you would add that embed code. So it doesn't take them to another website. It just shows that video within the Canvas. You can also, from Loom, download the file. So the download has a couple of nice features. One, you can save this to your OneDrive account and you will never lose it. So you can keep as many of those videos as you want. But the other thing that's really good about it is you can upload it into your own personal YouTube playlist, the same way I put these Zoom files on my YouTube playlist. And then we've got that YouTube app, remember, on our rich content editor. And so we can embed it straight through the YouTube app. So again, it doesn't require the students to download anything, so it doesn't use a lot of data for them. It doesn't require them to have space on their phone, and it doesn't take them off-site of the Canvas application. So those are all really good pros for saving this to a YouTube playlist.
We've got a few people wondering what you used for a microphone on those recordings.
Okay. Laptops will have built-in microphones and cameras. If you have a desktop at home, we are working with the principals to have microphones that you can check out from the Media Center so that you can do some of your recordings. I've got a couple here that we check out to some of the teachers. If you have one of the, if you have an iPad in your classroom, you can use an iPad. The audio can be recorded from a cell phone. So you can do your own audio there. If you cannot find a solution, either through your building principal or online, give us a call at mpsedtech@moreschools.com. Send us an email and we'll see if we can help you with that. There's a couple of options. If you want your own, you can purchase your own. They're not that much. They're a little bit hard to get right now because everybody in the world is working from home, but we can come up with some solutions for you. Sometimes that cell phone is your best option because it really has all the technology that you need. But we will work with the schools on making sure that we have enough cameras. I just have one that I'm sitting on top of my monitor right now. Great question though. And then if you're doing it from the classroom and you don't want to record any video, you can just use a small microphone. And I think a lot of the site techs still have some old microphones that we had that can be used as well. Rusty, what about those earbud headphones that have the microphone built in? We haven't played around with those yet, have we?
Not on the new Windows 10 machines. We haven't, because I
Let's
think a
try
lot
that.
of things have gone to USB, you know.
Yeah, but some of them still have the sound bars and they still have that microphone input jack on the desktops.
Yeah, that might be an option. You're right.
Let me play with that because you can get those for pretty cheap, and that'll at least give you the audio and what's on the screen. All right. I will definitely look into that and get something out for that one. Okay. So let's see. We have gone over Loom. Oh, classroomscreen.com was another one. So Screencastify, Loom, or Classroom Screen. We've done snipping images and saving as PDFs. Okay, so we're ready to talk about what you need to have or what you should have in your Canvas at the beginning of the year. Now, specifically, this is going to be up to your building principal as far as what they're looking for. The same way they set their requirements for lesson plans, visible objectives, daily outcomes, that type of stuff. So each building principal kind of has what they're looking for. So when they come back to school and they go through those first couple of days of staff meetings, they're going to lay out what they're specifically looking for in Canvas. What we would like to share with you are some of the things that we learned when we rolled this out in the secondary school, and that is ways to keep everything nice and consistent across multiple classes and multiple students. And one of the reasons is, you know, at more public schools, they are great about allowing teacher autonomy. So we hire the best teachers because we trust that you can teach well. And so for the most part, we give you the state standards and some guidance, but you're allowed to teach within that however you see fit. So the content within these is still going to have that same teacher autonomy that you've always had. We're not going to force you to use any particular curriculum. So again, whatever your building principal outlines for you, that's what you follow. But imagine I'm a parent. I have 4 students. 3 students were in 3 different Moore public schools last year, elementary, junior high, and high school, and all 3 had different distance learning plans. The youngest obviously was paper packet, and the junior high school, he had 5 courses on Canvas, and my high schooler had 6 courses on Canvas. So every day during the distance learning, we had to navigate Canvas for the high schooler, which wasn't that difficult because he had been using Canvas for a while, so he was pretty familiar with that. But my junior high student had not used Canvas at all before. So it was very new. And when we're talking about 11 different teachers with 11 different Canvas courses, and every teacher had theirs set up differently, it was extremely difficult as a parent to assist my students with getting their materials set up. One teacher used modules, one teacher used the calendar, one teacher used home pages, one teacher had everything due on the Friday at the end of the week, another teacher had assignments due every single day, another teacher didn't have anything due till the end of the 5-week distance plan. So it was really difficult. So these are the types of consistency items that we want you to kind of keep in mind as you're building your courses. Especially if you've got, you know, your 4th, 5th, and 6th grade where one student may have 3 or 4 or 5 teachers because they're going to have their 3 homeroom teachers. They're also going to have their specials are going to have their own cards. The media center is going to have its own card. And so as consistent as you can make it for these little ones that are learning, the easier it's going to be for you as an end result. So we would like the elementary students, especially younger, 3rd grade down to pre-K, everything that the student sees should be a homepage, okay, with clickable links to the assignments or the videos or the documents. We want this to be very app oriented, so it looks like an iPad app where they just have to click buttons to navigate through. Now your buttons can still be text or your buttons can be images. So for instance, if I wanted to add a button right here for Wednesday, I would come up and I would upload an image, And you can even just go to Unsplash, and I would type in numbers. Now, Rusty and I know we're really nervous right now because we don't like Unsplash. Okay, that's not bad. All right, so there's a number. So for math, we would have this image. We're going to click on it and change the size. I found about 200 pixels is usually pretty good. Let's try that again. Everybody's beautiful faces keeps getting, there we go. So this would be my clickable link for one of my younger students. So I would simply click on the image and come up here, and I could link it to an assignment or a quiz or a page or anything else within Canvas. If I wanted them to go to YouTube, then I could click this and I could put the link or the embed to the YouTube channel or to the Khan Academy lesson or anything external that I wanted to add. So that's really, when we talk about creating buttons, it really is as simple as either highlighting a text to make it a link or highlighting a picture to make it a link. That's all that's entailed. And so you can make that as fancy or as simple as you want. In Canva, you can design your own images, or you can use free source images. There's Pixabay, there's Unsplash. You can just search for copyright-free images and find some stock photos that might work for your needs, okay? And then there has been some talk 5th and 6th grade about being able to use modules. I'm going to leave that up again to your building principal. We would like to see everything consistent, but whatever you do, have some type of training for it. So here's where that Loom and Screencastify and recording yourself come in. So however you have your course set up, at some point on your main page, have a short video or a short document or instructions to the grown-ups and the students showing them how to navigate. So it may be as simple as you open up your course. Let me save these changes real quick. Canvas is really good about telling me when I forgot to save something. Okay, so if you have a course, let's take this one again, and it has a home page. Somewhere on this home page, just record a simple video or put some text instructions and said, every day your students should click on that day's assignment. If there are any notes, they will be in a link next to it. You can also have your students check this to do over here on the right. So for you, it has grade, but for them, it's going to have a list of all of the assignments in the order that they're due. So that's where that due date comes in. It's almost like a calendar event. So it's important to make sure that you have that due date, or it's not going to really show up here in that to do. And so just record yourself or give some instructions on how to navigate. Say if you want to contact Mrs. Argenbright, you may click on the inbox icon and send her an email. If you need to get a hold of me during my Zoom hours, click on the link for my Zoom meeting, or however you do your visual contact with your students. So just give them some type of short introduction or instructions on how to navigate the page, because there's going to be some differences from teacher to teacher. But we have parents who have 6 students at Moore Public Schools. And so if you take 6 students and all of the different course cards and every single one of them is different, it's going to be impossible for your parents to help you. So we want to make this as easy for them to help us, because that helps everybody. Okay. All right. Chrome bookmarking. Okay. Deep breath. Information overload. It's okay. You're going to be on your computer for a lot over the rest of the summer. You're going to be finding a lot of great online resources. You're going to be finding a lot of great links to other Canvas pages or other teachers or online textbooks. And I don't want you to lose that, because at some point you're going to come back to school and you're going to need all of that information on your school computer. Okay. So I'm going to change how I'm sharing again so that you can see the tabs really easily. Okay, so if you will notice across the top of my Chrome page, I have all of these little icons. These are my bookmarks. Now, a lot of you use bookmarks very regularly, but your bookmarks are computer specific. So when you go home, you may not see the same bookmarks that you have on your classroom computer and vice versa. Well, what I would like for you to do is on the top right of your computer, I'm going to go ahead and log out. Let's see, let's turn sync off so you can see what that looks like. Oh, I'll have to do that somewhere else. Okay, so if you have a circle that simply has a silhouette of a person, then you are not connected to Google Chrome through your account. You're just kind of using Google Chrome as a guest, and so it doesn't save any of your information. If you have either a picture like I do in this circle, or if you have your initials, then you're probably signed into a Google account. What I'd like for you to do is make sure that you're using your school email account, and that's going to sync everything to your computer once you log in at school, okay? So you can add, if you're using, say, your @Gmail account, you can add an additional account, and you're going to create one specifically for your school email address. One of the things it's going to ask you to do, it's going to say, do you want to sync? Are you the right person? Is this syncing? Is it on? And you're just going to hit yes, 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 yes until you see your initials or your picture. The good part about this is that your bookmarks now, all of the bookmarks that you create here are going to follow you on any computer you access using your Google Chrome account. So if you open up Google Chrome on your school computer, you can click on this icon again, turn your sync on to your More Schools account and all of your information, including things like saved passwords. Okay, we always have trouble with teachers every year. I'm guilty of this too. You save your password on one computer and you get home and you haven't typed in your Infinite Campus password in 9 months. So you forget it. So this will help you sync all of that information, bookmarks, histories, everything, okay? So as you go through and you find a site that you like, so let's say you come over here and you're like, ooh, mathaids.com. I saw that, I really liked it, I wanna remember that. So instead of writing down the web address, you're just gonna click on this little star here next to the URL address, and you're gonna bookmark that tab. You can give it a name, you can shorten it up, you can save it into a folder. I usually have something called Classroom Tools where I just throw stuff that I think I might use later on down the road, or you can put it directly on your bookmarks bar and it's always visible across the top, okay? So definitely make use of those Google Chrome bookmarks. Okay, fantastic. We're going to talk about what to do now. All right, so I've given you just enough information for you to be dangerous with Canvas, but you are by no means experts. None of us are yet. So here's where you're going to go to continue to become experts. So some of these things we've already gone over. I just want to hit them one more time. I want you to use the Canvas Commons. I want you not only to look at the More Public School Commons, which you can get from using the filter down here at the bottom, just More Public Schools, but I also want you to look at the All. And I want you to just browse. Take a look at what people are doing, download it, play with it, make it your own. These are great places to find ideas, okay? And you can search by course, assignments, quizzes. You can just get an idea of what other people are doing. Sometimes that's all you need is just that jumpstart idea. Second place I want you to go is the Help button. And the Canvas guides are going to be your absolute best friend. Now, I'm going to tell you this, but I don't want you to feel bad about it. 90% of the emails that I get asking for help for Canvas issues, I simply go to the Canvas guides, find the appropriate link, and send it to the educator. And all of their questions are already asked. I don't mind being that facilitator. So if you have a question, feel free to send it to Wendy Argenbright at moreschools.com. I will find it, whether it exists in the Canvas guides or somewhere else. But if you need something quickly, go ahead and just hit that search the Canvas guides and see if you can find it real quick. So for instance, adding a link to an image. All right, there's something that you guys are going to do. How do I add a YouTube discussion? Let's see. How do I link course content? Where is it? Oh, see, I picked the one. I just didn't use the right keywords. Okay. You can search for buttons. So it's going to show you how to use buttons. I must be doing something wrong because it's not giving me very good results. So feel free to email me and we can find the right ones. Okay. Another place that I want you to go is the Training Services Portal. That's the K through 12 First Day Ready course. This is from Canvas. It's created by Instructure. We're going to skip the tutorial. And there's a lot of good information on here, but the one specifically that will help you out the most is going to be the K through 12 First Day Ready. Okay. And so you can go through and look at some of these other courses. These are the new quizzes that I told you about during day 2. We didn't go over the new quizzes, but if you want to look at how to use those, here's an option for them. So this is also a great place to go for individual courses. And these are all Canvas courses about Canvas courses, if that makes sense. So sometimes just going through these courses will give you ideas about how to set yours up. Okay. Another place I want you to go is Andre's training course. And that is one that hopefully you've already enrolled in. So on your dashboard, you will see the MPS Canvas training course. Okay, if you've not enrolled in that, you're going to go to the PD at the poolside. Rusty, can you add that link into the chat?
Sure, I'll get that.
Okay, and that will give you an option to enroll in this if you have not already. And so this is going to have all of Andre's training videos, and we're adding more to that. The training schedule, the calendar is right here. And then this How It Works has a copy of a PDF file. This is everything that we've gone over the last 4 days with some extended information, okay? So if you missed a day or if there was something in here that was covered that you need a little bit more help on, here's some links to some additional videos on creating quizzes, syncing grades, some of the stuff that maybe we weren't able to go over in as much detail. There's some videos here as well. Okay, so that's another good resource. Andre's put all of this together for everybody at the district. And then the last place that I want you to look, and I normally don't say this, is Facebook. So there are 5 Facebook groups that I have found so far. Canvas for Elementary is probably the best one, and it is teachers from all over the United States who were just told by their administration this summer, just like you were, that we're going to be using Canvas for distance learning next year. And so there are tens of thousands of teachers who are going through the exact same struggles as you. And some of them have already figured it out and done amazing things and are more than happy to share with you. And so just like the Commons, these people are sharing their content, they're sharing their training videos, they're creating their own training videos, their own training modules. It is an amazing resource. And for every 10 people who have no clue what they're doing on Canvas for Elementary Facebook, there are 3 experts who are willing to show you step-by-step how to do anything and everything. So it is a great, great learning community for elementary educators. If you're on here and you're in a secondary position, there is Canvas for Teachers, teachers using Canvas, Canvas for secondary now just started up this last week. And so there's a lot of good groups on there, and it's a really easy way to share information and get ideas. So those are all some really good next steps. Your district curriculum coordinators are coming out with those templates. And that is going to be, if you are absolutely not able to do this, you don't have a computer, or you're a brand new teacher and you don't know where to start, these are going to be good kind of starting off launching points. You're still going to have to make it your own. You're going to have to add your own content and your own touch to it. But those should be coming out. Not 100% sure. Originally, it was supposed to be 9 weeks of curriculum. But it's going to be at least enough to get you through, those first couple of weeks until you can get set into it. Depending upon which department, there may be a different number of weeks that are available for that. Okay, we've got about 15 minutes left. I want to make sure that we have all of your questions answered. I know Rusty's been taking care of the chat room. Looks like everything on here he's been able to answer. And yes, Rusty, I like that last one. Modules can get really messy really fast. So those home pages using tables are definitely a really good way to keep everything. So let me just show you, there was a question on here, what's the difference between home pages and modules? And in all honesty, that is the most asked question on any Canvas forum. The content in home pages and modules is exactly the same. The difference is the delivery method. So here, this is a home page. It has a graphic. It has clickable links. I can change the format. I can change the layout. I can go in here very quickly and change the text instructions. And it is very easy for me to make this visually appealing. So you can see here, I had a table that I threw everything into, and then I just made those borders, those table cell borders 0 width. So when I save it, it looks like a web page. And you can change background colors and all sorts of stuff. So this is a home page. It's basically text, images, and clickable links. If you were going to use modules, and we use modules sometimes at the secondary level, but the modules will contain things that are unpublished. So for instance, we created a module template, Monday assignment, Monday activities, Monday notes, that type of thing. And we didn't always publish everything. Sometimes we might even have a page in here that we made just for teacher notes. So week 1, I might have a page on here, and this page is called Teacher Only Notes for Week 1. And I could just go down here and put, how the lessons went, any supplementary information, any notes that I had from last year. We all have those little sticky notes that we put on assignments, what worked, what didn't work, so we don't forget it the next year. So sometimes your modules are going to have stuff that you don't necessarily want everybody to see. You would just leave that unpublished, but it can get a little messy. And it's not always super intuitive as to what order you go in. So if you're going to use modules, I do suggest that you do a little bit more research into prerequisites and making sure that the students follow your module in order in a timely manner. Because if you click on it, on an item in the module, it's going to tell you to go to the next item. So there's the zooms, and it'll go to the next item in the module. So you just want to kind of make sure that you have that nice and organized. For 3rd and down, I would not use modules at all. I probably wouldn't even use them for 4th grade. I would stick just to using a homepage. Okay, so we had a question for the tables, setting those tables to 0 border. So if we go to our home page and we edit, this is the rich content editor. And this is actually the old rich content editor. So when I told you that there's the new and the old, this is the old. Most of the icons are the same, but it's got some breakouts over here. So For this one, I'm going to expand this content area a little bit. You can see that I added a table. And if I click anywhere in the table, I'm going to find this little table icon on the top. This is where I change all my table properties. So I can set the size. I can come in here and change the width of the table. You should always leave it at 100%. That will let that table scale no matter what size screen the students are using. And then here's that border. So you can do a thick border for the table, or you can do no border. I like to do no border simply because it looks more like a website and everything just seems to be anchored and nice and orderly, but that's completely up to you. You can even come in, so let's take this text. Instead of it being a text, I want it to look more like a button. So I can click that cell and just change the color of that one cell. So I'm going to make the back of that cell, the background, let's make it yellow. And now when I save this, that's where you get that button look instead of just a text. So that one little icon right there is going to give you all of your table properties, either for an individual cell or for the whole table. Okay, so this is, again, something that you can kind of go in and explore. And you can take that one cell and you can give it a nice little border. And now it looks a little bit more like a button. So just little simple things that you can do to just change the visual aesthetics of it. But everything I just did was just for looks. I didn't change any of the functionality. So don't think that you have to have all of these buttons and Canva graphics and everything else to make this functional. You really don't. The littles are going to have an adult sitting next to them or an older sibling that's going to be helping them navigate. And so just making these clickable, that's as complex as you need to make it, okay? If you want to go and make fancy, then absolutely. And then share it with all of us because there's probably someone else that can use it. Okay, we got about 7 minutes left. I'm going to open it up to questions. So you may unmute yourself if you have a question to ask. Or any tips that you have figured out that you would like to share with the group, that would be fantastic as well. Otherwise, we're going to turn you loose. Okay, we have a question. Is there a way to save your homepage to reuse the next year? Absolutely. Everything is automatically saved. So on my courses, these courses at the top are my favorited courses or my active courses. And I can change which ones those are by putting a star next to them. But it also saves your past enrollments. So these are all of the Canvas courses that I've built in years past. I can go to any of these and export a homepage or an assignment or a quiz, or I can even export the entire course. So let's say I have my pre-AP geometry course here. I'm going to go down to settings and I'm going to export the entire course content. It's going to save a copy, a Canvas file onto my computer, and then I can simply import that file directly into my new course. Okay, so these are all excellent things. Easy ways. Oh, I did want to show you how to share content with each other. So there's a couple of ways to do this. So let's say you're on a team, you're in first grade, there are 4 of you. Maybe each person is doing an individual portion of the Canvas course and you're sharing that content. You can do that a couple of ways. You can add those people to your individual course. So over here, oh, it's got to be one of my current ones. So let's say I'm working in my sandbox and I want another teacher to have access to everything that I have in my sandbox. I would just add her or him as a teacher. So here I've added Rusty to my sandbox. So he now has access to everything in this sandbox. He can change it. So be careful about that one. He can delete it. He can import it into his own courses. He can import stuff from his courses into here. He has the same privileges to this course that I have. So that is one option. If you don't want to give up that much control, you can always come in and say that you have a page and you've created the home page for all 4 classes and the other teachers simply need to change their names or their pictures. From all of the pages, if you see there's 3 dots on the right next to the published icon, if you click those, you can send that page to anybody else in the Moore Public School District. So you would send that page and all you have to do is type their name. So I'm going to send this one to Rusty. It's going to search for him. It's going to find him. And then it's going to send it to him. And then on his account, he'll get a little number up here showing that he has new content to be shared. And right here for shared content, he would have a 1 right there. So when he clicked on that, let's see. Oh, Rusty shared something with me. So then he could take that and he could import it into any of his courses. Okay, so that's a second way that you can share content between people. You can also use the import export. So if I go back into my course, and let's say one of my other teachers has created something that I want to pull into my sandbox, then I'm going to not import from Commons because they maybe haven't put it in Commons yet. I'm going to go to Settings and I'm going to import course content. All I need to do this is I need to know the name of the other person's course. Okay, so I'm going to copy a Canvas course. I would choose the name. So here's a 3rd grade sandbox. I'm not going to choose any of these because I don't know who actually owns these. And then you could either do the entire course or you could just choose specific content. Okay, so let me choose one of my own so I can make sure that I have. Okay, so there's one of mine. So I'm going to choose specific content and then it's going to ask me to select what I want. And it's going to open that entire course. I could choose one of 10 different modules and just select the individual modules, or I could select them all. I could select an individual assignment. So if they say, oh, my week 2, I've got a really good assignment there, you should go ahead and put that into yours. Then I can import just that individual assignment. So it gives you a lot of control here as to what you want to import and what you don't. So you're not pulling in everything that someone has worked on, only those things that they've perfected and said, okay, I'm ready for you to go ahead and bring those in. You can input individual pages, quizzes, and any files that they have. So maybe they haven't used anything in a page, but they uploaded a bunch of images or PDF files. You can import those as well. All right, excellent question. Those are probably the 3 easiest ways. You can always take your course and put it on the Moore Public Schools Commons and allow Moore Public Schools to access that. You can put it on the full Commons, but make sure that you don't have any material in there that's owned by Moore Public Schools. So you wouldn't want to have textbook images or any curriculum that the district has purchased. You would want to make sure that that's not available. Okay, excellent. Anything else? Rusty, you're staying on top of the Chat, anything else in there that we need to go over? Okay, so the last one was we can create a course and set up pages now and then add sections when we get them. You're not going to add sections. What you're going to do is you're going to get a whole new course card, and that's going to be your student course. So that's going to have your rosters in it. And you're going to take any content that you've created in your sandbox and you're going to import it into that student card. And then at the end of the year, the end of the semester, you can take that content and you can export it and save it for the following years, or you can export it into next year's course card. It is pretty sweet. It actually makes it very easy to transfer from year to year. So I was really happy. I've been using Canvas for about 1.5 years. So when I got to that last semester of my second year, it was really nice because I could just copy everything that I had made the year before and boom, all I had to do was update it with new content, or if I wanted to redo some of the quizzes a little bit and change the numbers, then it was really easy to do that. So year on year, week on week, semester on semester, as you start going through this, you're going to see yourself reusing content and you're going to see where it makes all of that a lot easier. Let's see. So there's a question, who do I need to contact to have my students added since I do not have students in IC? Okay, so you can add students yourself. So from IC is only if you have rostered students that you assign grades for. So speech pathology, OT, those types of services, you're not going to be using Infinite Campus at all. So what you would do for that is in settings, you would come down to course details. And you can do this 2 ways. If you have older kids or if you're wanting to add parents, under more options, you can put let students self-enroll. So you would basically email everybody who needed to be in your course a URL code, and when they clicked on that, it would automatically enroll them in their course. So this is how you could add other teachers or older students or parents. Another way that you can do it is you can simply go to people, and instead of adding teachers, you can add students. So this is how you would do it as well for clubs like archery club or robotics club or anything like that. And you can add, this is my son, he's going to love this. You can add them as a student. And so you can build that roster within Canvas on your own without having to use Infinite Campus at all. That's an excellent question. Oh, All right, here's a quiz. What did I do wrong? There we go. Make sure that you use it morestudents.com. And then that would add the user. Okay. All right. Okay, so adding pages versus updating home pages each week. So what do? So you don't want to have to build, 40 pages every year. The easiest thing to do is to copy. All right. So you could do one of 2 things. You can have a single home page and you can just update the links every week, which for some of you may work. But if you have students that are absent for extended periods of time, you're basically writing over content that they would need access to. So what I would do is I would take, so here's one of my home pages for week 1, and I would just go ahead and I would copy this, okay? And I would just create a copy of that page. And you can copy it into a different course or you can copy it into the same course. From the view pages, you're just going to duplicate it. And so then you would change the name of this and just update the links. So every Friday, I would come home, copy that week's homepage, and then just update the links for the following week. Excellent question. And so maybe keep that in mind as you're building your homepage. So the things that are made in Canva, the graphics, the time-consuming stuff, make those items that don't change from week to week. Like you wouldn't want to put, August 15th in a Canva image that it took you a long time to create, because you'll have to recreate that every week. So the things that are going to be updated week to week, make those easy to edit. Maybe just make those texts or simple buttons instead of complex JPEG images. Great question. And from week to week, you would just change the front page. So here, this week one is my current front page. If I wanted to take that and duplicate it, and so now this one, I'm going to change the name of it to week 2. I would update all of my links to week 2's assignments, week 2's notes. Now all I have to do is make this the new front page. So I'm going to click on those 3 dots again, and I'm going to use this one as the front page. So every Monday, I would just move my front page down the list. Excellent question. You guys are asking some great questions. Okay, and then Rusty said, we are doing a individual training for specials teachers, because yours is going to look a little bit differently on the 28th. And then there's early elementary specific training. There's upper elementary specific training. I am putting together something for special ed teachers. Bless your hearts. Okay, whoever your special ed teachers are in your school, I want you to, if you need contact information from your building principal, if you're new, find that out. It is going to be extremely important to share your content with those special education teachers. So adding them to your sandboxes and to your courses as you build content, and think full scale. So for instance, you may be a second grade teacher and you have your reading content. You may not think to share the 6th grade special ed teacher, but that 6th grader may be reading on a 2nd grade level. So they may need additional content. So any way that you can add those special education teachers to your content is going to help them out just more than you can possibly imagine, because they're not just handling 1 or 2 grade levels, they're handling 6 grade levels in 3 or 4 different subjects throughout the day. So as much as you can help them with that content, they will be very appreciative of it. So find out who your special ed teachers are and don't forget about them. Okay. Yes, so the last one was, would you just have the kids that were absent go to the pages? In a normal, everybody's in school option, absolutely. The Canvas would only be used for those students who are at home, unless you wanted to work it into your centers or your station rotation. But for the most part, it's just going to be that. So instead of assigning to everybody when you make an assignment, if you only have 1 student on distance learning, you can just make that 1 assignment go to that 1 student. And that would keep the grade book a little bit clean and keep everybody's to-do list. And then if we get into a situation where the entire school is shut down, then you would assign that to everybody. Excellent. Okay, Title I teacher training. Have not heard about that. Rusty? Okay, so Title I would highly recommend that maybe you go to the specials training, because you guys kind of work that on specials. You're pulling students from a bunch of different classrooms and a bunch of different grade levels. So that might be something where you use like Lexia or Reflex Math or some of the different features that you guys use. Pretty sure most Title I classes are using iPads for their students, as well as some learning resources that are online. So we could definitely help you come up with ways to get that to your students. And because you're Title I as well, those would be where you would assign the students to your course individually instead of having those rostered, because Title I teachers don't usually have rostered classes. So you might come to the specials training on the 28th.
Actually, that may be better for like the counselors and media specialists because they have to create their
Oh,
own sections.
absolutely. And we do have specialized training for that, don't we?
Yeah, and I
That's going
think
to be in
that was the
August.
first week of August. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I like that better. So Title I, you might want to do the media center and the counselor because, like he said, you're not going to have those rostered students. And then if there's anything that we haven't covered, go ahead and put it in that survey. Rusty, did you put that link in there? There it is. Look at there. Okay, so Rusty just put in a link for the end of the session survey. So if you have anything that you still want some follow-up information on, put it in there. And if enough people want it, then we can go ahead and maybe come up with an additional workshop. And make sure that you have your notifications turned on for your Canvas announcements, because that is how Andre is getting out information for new course trainings and new availabilities. And then just remember, you can always email mpsedtech@moreschools.com, or you can email Rusty or I directly, and we'll help you out with anything that you need. All right, I'm going to post this. So make sure that you have that YouTube channel, and then you can come back and check that. So let me go ahead and put that link again. I think one of my children found my YouTube channel and thought it was going to be really interesting, and then quickly found out it was not. Just a bunch of boring school stuff. Okay. All right, well, if there's no more questions, then everybody have a fantastic summer. Do not get too stressed out. We will survive this, and we'll help get you through it. Thanks for your help, Rusty.